Goodness.
Good morning, everybody, and thank you for joining us here at Spiritual Center for Conscious Living. You have Spencer and Renee joining you after our little holiday break there, and we thank you all. I saw Danielle and Lucy in the comments already, so good morning to both of you, and thanks so much for joining. If you feel like saying something in the comments, we love seeing that. So we appreciate y'all wishing us a good morning and hope that your Sunday has been going well so far.
Yes. Yes.
Today, our topic is creating an authentic life you love through conscious living. We have three principles in one video today. So I'll let Renee go off on that a little bit more. And before we do that, we do have a few announcements. If you are not on our email subscriber list, our first announcement being if you're not on our email subscriber list, we invite you to do so. We have a recorded video that Renee and I made for the new year. We are calling it our clean slate and guiding star ceremony. And if you sign up for our email list, you'll get that for free. There's no charge. It is Renee walks us through a beautiful chance to kind of, as the title suggests, clean off your slate from whatever you've been carrying and what no longer serves you, and then turn around and do this beautiful energy process to choose something to replace it or take that spot in your life and to bring into your life for this year. So it's received very, a lot of attraction and attention from our group. So we really appreciate those of you who have watched it and given us feedback on it. If you would like to get access to that, you just have to sign up for our email list. You can do so on our website, scfcl.org. It's right on our homepage or under our Be in Touch banner, or you can reach out to us via email or on Facebook Messenger or in the comments, and we'll get with you to make sure that you get the link to that video. Our second announcement is we are kind of migrating our monthly live streams, what you're watching right now, our weekly live streams to a monthly basis. So our next time we'll be getting together will be February 12th. And we're doing this because we liked the feedback that we were receiving from that recorded video, that pre-recorded and produced video that we made. So we want to put more energy and a little more focus on that. And we're going to be producing more and different types of content rather than being pretty much 100% live streams. So that is something that you guys get to look forward to. We're still going to keep a monthly live stream and then have more and a more diverse set of content for you to enjoy. And our last announcement is one of those other formats of content that we are considering is hosting a private group Zoom gathering. So essentially, we are looking for to host an event. This would also probably be on a monthly basis where we're calling it Conscious Connections, where it's a chance for everybody who's practicing conscious living to get together in a group on Zoom and just really connect over it. And it doesn't have to be super deep. It can be whatever we choose for it to be. So just a chance for us to connect in that way. So it'll be again private, so you can ask questions for your own personal spiritual expansion, and it's only going to be invitation only. It will not be recorded. Just we want to make that space totally available for you. If it's something that you're interested in, we are gathering feedback on it. So if it's something that you like, absolutely want to be a part of this, it's going to be private invitation only. Please email Renee, and her email is Renee at spiritualcenterforconsciousliving.org. You can also, I would imagine, reach out to us in any of the other ways that you see fit and let us know, I'm interested in that private Zoom. This is something we're just gathering feedback on, but really looking to implement as well. So those were the big three announcements. So thank you for bearing with me on those. We are about to start our weekly live stream here with Renee's wisdom, and I would invite you all to continue to react, like, share. All those things really help us grow our reach. So thank you in advance for doing that. We love having you here and hope you enjoy what we have to offer today. And I'll let Renee take it from there.
Thank you, Spencer. I am going to move my view. Hello, everyone. Welcome to 2023. This is our first live connection with you. So we want to just say thank you that you're with us again. And we are focusing today on something specifically for this idea that we tend to, at the beginning of the year, we think about how did last year go and what do we want to be different in this coming year. And sometimes we do that monthly, weekly. It's something we can become very conscious about and actually do, moment to moment, just not as big as we might do it for a full year. So in the light of that, let's begin with some grounding and focusing. My kitty's going to be with us. And so let's take a deep breath, please. Exhale with sound. Whoa. And now I ask you to focus in your third eye and drop it down into your heart as well. And then all the way down into the root chakra. We are here to align with the presence and power that is this energy force. It's not an entity. It's not a person. It's an energy force. It is a power, a power that is greater than anything earthly, because it is the power that flows into the creation of all that is earthly. And we have access to that divine presence and power in every moment. So I invite you to feel into that right now. Hold that space for yourself, for everyone you love, for everyone on the planet, for all, my kitty's going to jump in here, and for all creatures and all life, nature, the earth itself. Come here, baby. I invite you to just be aware of that in our time together. I invite you to be aware of it all the time, but be very conscious right now that you are aware of that. That's the whole purpose. That's what conscious living is about, is being very conscious of the energy force that is life force, God force, the divine, the light of the one, the energy that is the source, a beloved source. All right. Now, here's what we're talking about today. As Spencer said, evolving consciousness is going to, I'm skipping ahead. Creating an authentic life you love through conscious living. We're going to cover three things. Evolving consciousness to experience lasting change is the first element or principle of what we're talking about today. Now, I want to break that down for you. Evolving consciousness to experience lasting change. So that evolving consciousness is a phrase that gets talked about, shared, tossed about in spiritual communities. And that I don't mean that as a negative. It's just that I realize that often people don't really understand what that means. So in our center at SCFCL, we do not want to just banter spiritual phrases. That does not serve anyone. It might even be kind of counterproductive, I would say. It's actually kind of a negative thing. The reason is it deludes you into thinking that you have this wisdom more fully embodied than you actually do. Because if you can't implement it in your everyday life, it's not doing you any good, is it? Right? If you can't bring the spiritual into the human aspect of life, what's the point of continuing to expand your spiritual understanding? Right? I mean, it feels good. That's a good thing. But if you can't use it in the human aspect of your life, it doesn't feel good in the human realm when you need something, when there's a chaos in the world and you need help with it, when there's a personal sense of overwhelm. And so that's what we want to talk about today with this first principle. How do you evolve your consciousness to experience lasting change? So let me talk about the lasting change, and then we're going to really hone in on the consciousness. The reason I say lasting change is because most people create, they create a pattern. It's very common, and please don't be critical of yourself. Please open your heart and be aware and very self-honest with self-love about this truth. It's very, very common in the human mindset of mass consciousness currently on planet Earth and for eons of time. There's a pattern of overcoming obstacles to prove yourself. And then without realizing it, very unconsciously, we don't create lasting change. We only create whatever amount of change will get us through a challenge. We get this momentum quickly to solve a problem in the human realm. If we don't bring the power of spirituality into the everyday moments so that momentum is always there, readily available, and the crisis and the overwhelm and the confusion is less challenging, and it evolves and resolves itself more quickly. Now, how do you do that? Well, you have to evolve your consciousness to a level that is higher than what you've been living. So I want you to begin with this question, please. Self-inquiry. It's a new year. Those of you who've done the guiding star ceremony, you've already gone through this process. So what is your guiding star for the new year? What do you want? What is the most important change you want in your life? You might think of it as an outer change, a material thing, or an experiential, like something with relationships, something with finances, something with health or fitness, something with some kind of joyful experience of life, home and job and interesting connections in your community, things like that. Creative expression, all of that is wonderful. If that's where you start there. But now bring it in. Who do you have to be? Who do you have to become? New and different, more highly evolved, more high vibe consciousness. Who do you have to become to be the same energy as this outer experience you want to be your new natural normal lifestyle? What energy shift do you have to sustain moment by moment by moment to have the outer experience? If you make the shift at the level of consciousness, you're not using tremendous energy, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual energy, moment by moment by moment, to overcome that old momentum. That's a lower, denser energy that's been holding you in the state that you want to rise above. How do you evolve consciousness? It begins with the awareness that is essential. And then you pay attention. Consciousness is your perspective of life. Consciousness is the awareness you bring to every moment. Do you, in this moment, what is your feeling telling you? What are your thoughts revealing to you? As you hear what I'm saying, is there openness and you're inviting this idea in? Is there resistance? That's going to be hard. I don't think I can do it. I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me, because you're in your head, not your heart, because you're immersed in the humanness of you without empowering that by being open to the spiritualness of you. And we're going to talk about that as the third principle, the blending of the two. So be honest with yourself. What is your natural knee-jerk go-to responds, life is hard. I have to overcome. Evolving consciousness sounds kind of woo-woo. I don't know. I think I better just, get in the trench and push, 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 strive, strive, strive. Because that's what people do in the human realm. Mass consciousness rewards that as the only way to have a better life. Well, I want to suggest to you that that's not true. And there's lots of evidence of it, actually. Think about creative artists and athletes and scientists and innovative thought leaders of all kinds. They have this quantum leap in their creativity, that is way beyond their human capacity. Because you can see a lot of times, let's look at musicians, very talented, wonderful musician who always struggles, the struggling artist, any form of artistry. Come here, baby. And you also can see, come here, sweetheart. You can also see that with all kinds of work, human task, human expression, whether it's people who have a passion to bring an idea to life through science, through business, or artistry expression. Why is it some people, it's like this whoosh happens and they flow, and others struggle? Do you think it's because somebody in power pushed a button for them? What brought them to, if that happened, what brought them there? Why did they get there and someone else didn't? Equally talented, beautiful concepts, movements in the world make progress and have huge success, and then others do not. What's the difference? It's the consciousness. It's the degree to which the consciousness is evolved, even if the person doesn't understand that's what they're doing. That is the level that makes lasting change. There's even been research about overcoming addictions and what creates the lasting change in being able to release an addiction, which is an energy dynamic, giving your power away to something else. And that addiction can be a substance, or it can be a belief. It can be we can be addicted to people. We can be addicted to states of being that we think we have to have in order to be safe, right? We can be addicted to intangible things because it's an energy dynamic and we're giving our power away to it. So ask yourself this: do you hold an energy dynamic as your normal state of being that is open to the next thing we're going to talk about, infinite possibilities being actually available, not this airy-fairy idea out there? That is why some people have huge success in their careers as artists, celebrities, athletes, scientists, innovative thinkers, business leaders, movement leaders. And how do you define success? Do you define success as fulfillment? Do you define success as celebrity? Other people give it acclaim. Dollars amounted to it. Money matters, but do you give your power away to that as the evidence? Your physical body, your health, does it have to look a certain way that society says it should? Do you realize how much that's changed in history? How the variety of outer appearance that is considered appropriate has changed and will continue to change and evolve. So what really matters is how do you feel, the vibrancy you have, right? That's really what we want, is that sense of aliveness. So the second principle is opening to infinite possibilities will expand your aliveness, your vibrancy of life, and your ability to be radiant as you, the real you, the true you, the whole you. Not this facade that we get taught and pressured to present. That's appropriate. Think about people in your life who are so uniquely themselves, and how much you love being around them, and how much joy they bring to your life. The diversity of that. Baby, my little kitty wants to be in my lap. Come here, Buggy. I'm going to just let him be in my lap. So think about that. Do you actually let that part of you be the natural expression of you? Your aliveness, fully alive, the whole you. Do you actually live that way most of the time? Maybe all of the time. Maybe that's too much. What's your belief about that? What comes up when I suggest that? Does that seem like it's just airy fairy impossible? Does it seem like, oh, that sounds wonderful, I would love that, or I want more of that? Do you embrace that as an actual possibility? As an actual possibility that you can live, that you can experience, that you can express, that you can relax into, and let that be the energy you emanate, the beingness that you emanate. And if not, what's your belief about why you can't? You don't believe infinite possibilities are available? Or maybe you think that's true in theory, but personally you're having trouble allowing yourself to be at the energy, the consciousness. Energy and consciousness are not the same, but we experience consciousness as energy. And then we experience consciousness as the energy that creates our life experiences. That's how you know where your consciousness is. If you keep hitting a wall, it's because you haven't evolved your consciousness. So you swim upstream, you just overcome, and then in a little while you'll have to overcome again, and then in a little while you have to overcome again, and it's exhausting, and it undermines your ability to know a spiritual mastery that you really are capable of. And that's why I always go to the heart of evolving consciousness, because otherwise you teach people a spiritual skill and it becomes a sense of almost, it can't be true because it doesn't last, or it's too hard to maintain it because it takes constant, enormous energy to keep cycling through all of that. It's very depleting, and it can be very kind of almost like a sense of despair or hopelessness can come from it. And I don't want that for you. I want you to go to the heart of it, evolve your consciousness. And then the third principle is blending human and spiritual to enjoy an elevated lifestyle. So let's talk about elevated lifestyle. What does that look like for you? A common element of an elevated lifestyle would be conscious living, authentically being you, and you're consciously making choices that align with what you really want to experience, what you really want to bring to the world, what you really value in life, exploring it more and more and deeper and higher and it's like high and deep and expansively. You just keep expanding that aliveness, and you keep opening to new ways to do it. And when I'm describing all this, I don't mean that you're out there being, someone who's discovering how to create a new life on another planet. It doesn't have to be something that seems very, very grand, because a conversation like this, just this one right here between me and you, whoever you are, live or replay, can change something for you that has enormous impact on your health and your well-being and your joy and the contribution you bring to life then, because that opens your energy field, will impact so many people. It can be what might be measured in terms of human mass thinking, a small thing, but the impact is huge. So that's how we want to measure consciously if we are living an authentic life, authentically doing things that matter to us, that make the change in the world, beginning with ourselves, that are really meaningful and important and fulfilling and so satisfying. And so let's talk about that last element, the blending of human and spiritual. Please be very honest with yourself. Do you tend to be in a state of mind that you are only approaching life as a human? You are overcoming whatever institute you think has power, government, financial, education, whatever it is. Those groups of people, quote, in power, you have to overcome, or you have to play the game with them in order to survive, in order to thrive. Is that like the normal state, the more common? Like, on a scale of 1 to 10, let's use percentages. Let's say, are you 50% of the time being in that human state, or 80% of the time? And then how much of the time are you in the spiritual state? Are you doing the other extreme where you want to live a blissed out spiritual life? You don't want to bring it into human behaviors, human choices, human experiences, the creation of material, experiential beauty and love and energy exchange that comes from light into form. Are you blending the two, or are you flipping back and forth between blissed out spiritual, or which is very ungrounded, not truly spiritual mastery, and then trying to get yourself back into dealing with something in the human realm that's overwhelming, maybe frightening even. And so then you just completely drop all the spiritual and you go, pendulum swings way over to the other side. And now you're this meager, mere mortal fighting against the world to survive and thrive. Please make a decision right now that you will not live that way this year, that this will be the year you stop the extreme swings on the pendulum. Maybe you don't swing that extreme. That's wonderful. But whatever swing you're making, make the commitment, please, today, right now, this moment, whether you're with us live or watching on the replay, make the decision right now, the commitment to yourself. You will improve that pendulum swing. It will not be as wide. You will narrow it. Because what that will do is that will minimize the stress you have in your life that you are creating for yourself. Is it true that there are entities, organizations, groups of people, governments, organizations, companies, businesses, financial institutes, educational institutes, etc., that we do need to understand and collaborate with? Yes, that's true. What do you think is the wisest approach? One mere mortal against thousands in some organization, or the power that creates worlds, guiding a beautiful blended human being, blended human and spiritual, wide open to life force that is God force, that is beloved source, that cares intimately about this beautiful human spiritual being having a beautiful, expansive life in this lifetime, right now, and bringing all of that into the wisdom you bring forth as you choose what to do, when to do it, how to say it, what not to say. Which one do you think is wiser and more intelligent, a wiser use of your intelligence and wiser use of energy? So we're going to explore that a little bit more next month. We're going to talk about balancing heart and mind. So we'll go deeper with that. Okay, so now let's do our energy immersion, meditative state. Spencer, thank you for, if you'll pull up the music, he always selects really nice music for us. We're going to do this, and then we're going to take questions after that. So please stay present for both. Okay, so deep breath. Exhale with sound. Whoa. Another deep, slow breath. And a slow, thorough exhale. One more very gentle breath. And a gentle, just let it dissipate like little raindrops, just bubbling up and out or dripping away, little raindrops. Shake out your fingers and your toes and just let everything go so that you can be fully present in your heart. And the mind that is the third eye mind. Very grounded also in your body through your root chakra, legs and feet. And now here's the question. What do you most want to effect in your life as new this year? A new experience, not taking something old and hammering it into something different, just laying it down and creating new. What do you want to create anew? Bring that to mind, bring it into your heart, and feel it all through your body. What would it feel like to live that? To be that? Because that is the energy you must choose to embrace and embody. That is the consciousness you must commit to hold as your dominant way of being, your dominant perspective, the awareness you bring more often than not, higher than 50%, 51%. Feel into that. What if you could hold that energy, 51%? And it was effortless because it was emanating from your consciousness. You weren't holding it like this force field you're trying to create around you. See, that's exhausting. That's taught a lot. And I don't agree with it. And I personally know better. And I know a lot of beautiful spiritual teachers that also teach better because they personally experience and live differently. Holding the energy as who you are, your consciousness, becomes effortless. You don't need these imaginary force fields because those keep away a lot of beautiful light of the divine, of life on earth even. Open to source and hold the consciousness that you need to become to effect this creative new experience. Hold the consciousness and allow the universe to orchestrate this amazing change for you. Yes, you will be guided to take action, of course. Yes, you will be guided to make phone calls or write emails or speak up or not speak up. You will be guided to do and say things differently with a higher vibration. And then you will do them. It will not be so scary because it will be coming with this amazing power in you that is the divine in you as you. And that's the way we're meant to live. That's what we came for at this time in history. It's the time to evolve into that way of living. It's the time to do it. I invite you to say yes to it and stay with us all year. We're going to work on it. It'll be a joyful work, I promise you. It doesn't mean it won't take diligence. It will take commitment to focus and flow your energy to evolve consciousness so that you don't fight the stream, swimming upstream all the time. It's exhausting. Wears on your health, your emotional peace of mind, and your emotional calm and sense of security in the world. Now, what if? What if that were true? What if you were living it? And what if instead of it being what if that might be possible? I want you to take a breath and exhale that out. And shift from that into, what if I knew for sure it is possible? What if I knew for sure it is possible for me? What if I knew for sure it is possible for me right now to shift into this new energy as my new state of being, my new consciousness? The energy field I carry with me everywhere I go, effortlessly, because it is my perspective, my awareness, my consciousness. Take another breath. I now open to this new decision. Not only is it possible, it is. It is the truth. It is my truth. It is my choice. And I am doing it, and I am being it. It is. And I hold that space with you, for you. And you have divine presence and power in every moment, supporting you, guiding you, bringing you resources, opening you to infinite possibilities, and clearing the way for you to enjoy them, to experience them, to express the whole of you, human and spiritual, in a beautiful energy dance with life. What a great year we have ahead of us. Beautiful experiences together, bountiful, joyful, flow of energy. All right, dear one. Take another breath as you come back for our conversation. I'm going to shift my view back to see Spencer while we talk. Everybody take a breath, get grounded. Open your heart, be in your mind, your beautiful third eye mind. Yep. Okay, so I'm going to go over the 3 principles and then we will begin conversation. This is just a way to kind of help us focus again and get grounded while everyone's getting grounded. So again, the topic today, creating an authentic life you love through conscious living. Principle number 1, evolving consciousness to experience lasting change. Principle number 2, opening to infinite possibilities will expand your aliveness. Principle number 3, blending human and spiritual to enjoy an elevated lifestyle. All right, then. So, Spencer, is there anything that we have our audience is asking about, or anything you want to bring up to start the conversation?
Yeah, I don't see any specific questions from our audience. I do want to take the opportunity to say I hope the music wasn't too jarring or spooky ooky for people. I have very little control. It's a we use YouTube and Facebook Safe Music, and the application we use, it allows us to use it for free, but you don't get a choice in what plays. So I skipped around. Like, there's a couple that popped up, and they were a little more. They don't always fit the theme, and they're always like 2 minutes. So there was one that came on that had a cave feeling, and I was kind of popping in and out and like quick, oh no, gotta skip. So I hope that wasn't too jarring for any of you listening. I mean, I really liked the introspectiveness of a cave, and but it was a little bit on the more dreary side.
Well, let us know in the
So
comments because I don't hear
yeah,
it until I check out the
yeah.
replay
So let
on
us,
my end. Let us
so
know.
I'm sorry I skipped around on a couple songs. There were just a few things that just weren't quite flowing like they usually do for us today. So
Okay.
on the music front at least. So just wanted to say, hope that wasn't too jarring. You're safe. You're good. And yeah, I guess I don't have anything too specific. I had um something that kind of jumped out to me was I guess this relate to principle two, and expanding your aliveness, really your aliveness being whatever you choose it to be. And I know we point to different superstars and saints of the world to be like, oh, you can be like a Mahatma Gandhi or that sort of thing, but you don't have to. Like, it really, like, we do point to them, and that's just what our society has taught us. Um, I guess that really jumped out to me, that it does, that it doesn't have to be grandiose. You are affecting, if you are practicing conscious living and interacting with other people, you're impacting their lives. You can be, as I once was, working in a Costco, which is a respectable job. It's nothing, there's nothing wrong with it, but it's something our society will look at and be like, working as a retail worker, you're doing this. But it's like, I impacted people in such ways where I would have these connections where they're coming out, and I would make a comment about somebody, or to somebody, that life is what you choose it, and then they would say, oh, I see somebody who's awakening there, I'm away, and we have a great conversation and connection, and just that little impact in somebody else's day. You might be working with a neighbor or a friend, and
Mm.
um they recognize it, maybe even if they're not conscious about it.
That's a beautiful point. I'm so glad you brought that up. I would invite everyone right now to think about a total stranger somewhere, maybe recently, who impacted your life. You don't even know their name, maybe, right? It could be a momentary connection, and some little something they said impacted you. I had that experience just this past week. Somebody who I'd spoken on the phone with came by the house to do a service, and something they said brought a beautiful awareness to me that was exactly what I needed to hear at that time. It was very uplifting. And I can remember an encounter at the grocery store. I love the groceries, the deli grocery that I go to. And a beautiful lady, I don't know her name. And I was waiting to look at the bread, and she was there. So I waited for her to finish. And as I just 10 seconds or so, I observed her while I was waiting, and she was a very elegant older lady. And she had a nice kind of a style about her. And so I just said to her, she looked up and she said, apologized for taking long. And I said, no, I enjoyed watching. And I said, you're a beautiful lady. And she said, well, thank you. And then we had just a momentary exchange, and like she gave me a wink, and she said, we said something about aging with elegance or something, and she winked at me and she said, back at you. And at that moment, it was like my beloved aunt had channeled through her, because that's exactly how my aunt would do a little wink and a little something. And it was like, it made my day. And I don't know the lady's name, never seen her again, and, and it can be even deeper things, of course, but no, I think that's wonderful. Aliveness, like you said, it's not grandiose. It does have meaning and impact.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, and I had a similar situation too, where I was going, and I was going to meet up with a friend, and I knew that they have some very strong preferences and likes and dislikes in their life that they want to talk about. And I'm like, I just don't want to participate in that. Like, I don't have a problem with it. It's just not what I
Mm.
want to enjoy my evening doing.
Right.
And I haven't had like a long, deep, everything's kind of superficial with this person. And I haven't had a long, deep conversation with them in a very long time. And I went over there and it kind of started going the way I thought it was going to go. And then I'm like, I just don't want to be a part of this. And I didn't say anything. I was ready to just kind of bear the brunt of it. But I just kind of said, I'm not going to be a part of the conversation about this. It's not something I want to talk about, or it's not how I'm looking to spend my evening. And before I knew it, we were having this deep conversation where even I was getting wisdom like from this person, and they were helping me out, and it was like this beautiful exchange between friends, and exactly what I wanted it to be, without even having to do anything. I don't know. I didn't say like, "Hey, let's stop talking about this," or "I'm sick of hearing about this." That sort of thing. I just kind of allowed for the natural path to happen, and it did, and it was a great evening. Um, and so I think of that in terms of aliveness, because it's like I felt alive in the sense of connection with that person, not alive in the sense of like driving a motorcycle down the freeway at 80 miles an hour, sort of like not that type of exhilarating aliveness, but at the same time is really helpful in healing for me to have those conversations, and have a trusted friend in person to just kind of talk about some of the deeper stuff in our lives. Um, so yeah, it's just you just opening yourself to that beautiful happening is wonderful.
I agree with you. That's really one of I would say maybe my most favorite aliveness is that connections like that and nature, which includes my beloved pets, of course, connections with them as they're kind of like in both worlds, connection and nature. But yeah, I love that too. And I wanted to clarify something. So did you actually say anything or did you just hold the energy and it shifted?
Yeah, I guess I just held the energy. I did not say anything. I maybe did a little bit to kind of change the conversation, but I kind of mostly just decided like, you know what, I'm not going to engage in this too much. It's not a topic that interests me all that much, and I gave a little bit to it, but then I just kind of let it go away, and just like, and I don't know if he picked up on that energy, or if it just naturally flowed, because otherwise I was expecting the past several times I've seen this person, it's always been about this one topic, and it's like I'm beyond this topic. I don't need to discuss it anymore. I don't like I feel complete. I get it's still relevant in your life, but let's
Yeah.
talk about something that we both can let's do something that we can both enjoy talking about. And I didn't have to say anything about it. I didn't have to sit there and endure what I didn't want to. It just
Mhm.
was able to happen exactly, it's something that both of us could enjoy was allowed to happen. Um,
That's awesome. I want to celebrate you for having the awareness, I don't want to do this, having the conviction, I'm not going to do this,
mhm,
without forcing someone else to change. That's beautiful. So everyone listening, that's conscious living right there. That is bringing your spiritual power, divine presence and power into a human experience. That's it right there. That's how it flows. I mean, there's many, many examples, but that Spencer just gave a really simple and easy to understand example of how beautifully natural it can become for all of us.
mhm.
If there's anything that you want to share, anyone who's want to share an experience like that, or you want to ask specifically to how to have it be like that in an experience in your life that please share. And like, we I know sometimes it's hard to it's maybe feels very personal, and this is a public forum, so we don't, you don't want to use names and things. So if you can share it and it feels comfortable, do so, please, because it helps other people. However, if you don't want to share it publicly, we really respect that. That's why we're exploring the possibility of Zoom. We used to do Zoom back when we were more local, and now that we're online, we're thinking we might bring it back. So just so we can ask questions and share experiences in ways that it's a little more of a sacred cocoon, you might say. any comments we want to address before we continue, Spencer?
Let me check. I don't see any new comments or questions trickling in.
Okay, wonderful. So, is there anything else that comes to mind, Spencer, that you want to share, or would you like me to bring up a question? Or are you
Yeah, why don't you
feeling
bring up a question?
okay?
That's
So, yeah. So here's I want to kind of bring the consciousness part in. So, if you feel comfortable helping us all, kind of play this out, what do you think you would help you most to evolve your consciousness? Or do you have any other question about evolving consciousness?
I think right now for me, you kind of talked about like the pendulum swinging, and right now for me, it's a lot of getting caught up in that more human side of things, the more rather than, like obviously there's the pendulum swing to the other side where it's all spiritual and it's just too much, versus the, that blending the human and spiritual side of it. I feel like being surrounded by people who are of varying levels, that it's too easy to just match them, and
Ah,
really being strong in holding your own space, and regardless of what their thoughts are on it, regardless of what, you know um their beliefs or their projections are onto you, and just kind of
yeah.
evolving past that.
Okay, so if I may, I'd like to explore that a little bit.
Hmm.
Okay, so the example you gave, about the friend you spent some time with, in that example, I would say one of two things happened, or maybe other possibilities, but two things come to mind. First of all, either you didn't allow that person to project their energy on you, or they didn't, they weren't projecting their energy on you. They were just holding their own energy, and you were saying, I'm not going to join you in that. So which one do you think happened there? Did they try
Probably
to
this.
project? No.
No, probably the second. I mean, they're going to talk about whatever they're interested in, regardless to anybody who's listening. But I think it was more of a just a, yeah, I'm not going to participate. I let them say their piece, and I'm like, okay, I'm not going to participate any further in that. And just,
Okay.
you know,
Yeah, and that's really important. So let me explain for everyone if you don't know what I mean by that question. So when somebody projects their energy on you, they're trying to get you to join them in a frequency, to participate in an energy dynamic that holds a particular frequency. That might be a frequency of anger. It might be a frequency of sadness. It might be a frequency of anxiety, frustration. It could be a very positive frequency, But even then, we don't want to try to control another person's energy. Like, let's say we want to be loving and happy, but we don't want to push that on somebody, and we don't want to be manipulating them. We don't want to try to dominate or manipulate other people's energy. They get to choose. We just, like Spencer did, you choose your own energy and you hold it, and if the other person is open to it, they will naturally join you. The higher If the other person is open, they will naturally rise up to the higher frequency. It has that effect, versus trying to force them to talk lovingly when they're upset, or now it doesn't mean you can't make a suggestion, but that's not the same as pushing your energy, projecting an agenda, projecting a fear, projecting an emotion on someone. Yeah. So my what I think I heard you say in your question was, sometimes when people are projecting, you have trouble not joining them on that, in the energy that they're wanting you to join them in. Would that be accurate?
yeah, I mean, sometimes it's projecting, sometimes it's just that you're kind of immersed in it or surrounded by it, and you know, not that I get totally sucked in, but then you just kind of, you take yourself out of where you're at, and it's like, you know, just so you can connect with them and it's on their level.
Yes. I think what's happening energetically and with consciousness is your, it's like without meaning to, your your human brain is picking up on the frequency, right? And you could be in, say, I'm going to combine my heart and mind and hold my frequency while I'm aware of their frequency, but not feel that I have to be in their frequency to share energy with them, to have an energy dynamic, to share kindness and caring and friendship and love and support. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I think for me it's more of a like, just that you're being around people that have known you forever and you've known them forever, and it's just kind of a, this is the way it is, sort of a sort of an energy. And then it's just like, because you're just there living in the human world of it, you just forget that it's like, no, this doesn't have to be this way, no, this doesn't have to be a certain way, um
That's an
based on historical, you know, evidence, or what you're used to, just what you're conditioned to being used to. It's not even like we're
yeah,
conscious, you're not even consciously thinking about it. It's just like, he's always been this way, they've always been this way, she's always been this way, not a
yeah.
thing of, I like, I'm meeting you for the first time again, you know, like somebody could be completely different from one minute to the next.
You know what? That's the challenge of having long-term relationships.
Hmm.
And that's why we don't tend to have a lot of them that go with us our whole lifetime, because we grow different ways. And sometimes we can do that and we're close enough in frequency that that's great. It still works. And then sometimes we can do it, we're not that close in frequency, but both people are very allowing of each other and nobody's trying to control, make each other be in the same frequency, right? But when it comes, when you're with people where maybe they don't mean to, but they're trying to make you be in their frequency because it feels better, and hold you into like who you were in high school, let's say, or college or whatever,
Hmm.
grade school, it is interesting, isn't it? So the difference in that is actually you choosing, and this is true for everyone. Spencer's being very brave to just put it out here for us, but each of us choosing our consciousness and being aware when we let our conscious, when you choose, when it becomes your consciousness, you less and less and less and less will give into a temptation to shift. It'll be less effort to hold the frequency. Like it'll be like what you had with the friend you just talked about. Even with people who are projecting or trying in all, not necessarily negative, but wanting you to be the person you were that, when you were learning to ride a bicycle or drive a car or whatever, and now you drive a car, you're not the learning to drive person. You're driving the car very well, right? So, or you've evolved past it and you don't want to drive a car anymore. You know what I mean? I mean, there's
Hmm.
like, you get to be new in every moment. So I have a question for you, and this is for everyone. Good, really great idea that you brought up here. Do we choose anew, really? Or do we think it, but we're not actually with our whole being choosing it?
So you repeat the question one more time. The
Yeah.
big
So
one.
it is a big one. And you brought it up, and thank you. It's really awesome to think about, to reflect on.
Yeah.
Ask each of us, me too, I've been aware of this because I'm, the thing about teaching something is you really go through it as you're cultivating teaching it. So I've been very aware recently of this exact thing. Are you moment to moment really choosing anew your whole being, your spiritual and human self is choosing anew? Or are you thinking it in your human brain, but you're not actually being it? Because you have to change who you are to be it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It's again, it's a very it's a question that I'm trying not to get too in my head about.
Yeah, a good idea.
And
So
it's
shift from brain to
mhm.
third eye, down to heart, root chakra.
Because
Feel into it instead of thinking into it. Everybody, feel into it. We cannot experience a change we can't feel as actually having it. Going back to the energy immersion, you have to get to the space of feeling it to such an extent that it is. Energetically, it is.
yeah, and I think a lot of times that sometimes I do get into the where it's just the human mind point where I'm like, yeah, I'm choosing this change versus the energetic aspect
Being, being the
of
change.
being that change.
Yeah. The other element of change that's important to be aware of is it's very, very easy to slip into making the change happen instead of being the change, being the new, being the energy of the new is how the change manifests. Making it happen is the human element of slugging away at it, you
Right.
know? Yeah.
Right. Where I think on some level you need that human element of change, but you need to grow beyond it. You know, at some point, if it's an addiction, if I'm addicted to sugar, I need to have the human element of I'm going to limit or reduce or whatever the amount of sugar in my diet. You need that, but you also need to be cultivating that energy of this is change that I want and is going to be easeful for me.
Right. And so that's important that you said it that way. I'm not in any way suggesting that we don't accomplish it in the human realm.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying that accomplish it in the human realm without the consciousness support is just drudgery.
Right.
Is swimming upstream. It's like staring at the sugar bowl or whatever snack or whatever with sugar in it, the cookies or whatever, and like, grip your, the addictive pull to it at the human level versus the energy of it is you quit craving it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, and your body, goes through a process where then as you quit emotionally craving it, you quit putting it in your body, and then if the physicalness stops craving it too.
Right.
Right. So it's like supporting yourself by starting with consciousness, knowing you will change outwardly too, inside out versus outside in. Now, it does help to, maybe don't have sugar around, right? I'm not saying, make your environment supportive
Mm-hmm.
of the change you want. So I'm not saying, stand in the sugar aisle and just say, look at me.
Oh yeah, yeah. Every time I walk through the candy cookie aisle at the grocery store, I say the Lord's Prayer or Psalm 23 as I walk through the valley of the shadow of death.
That is hysterical. Oh, I hadn't heard that. That's good. I
Mm-hmm.
like that. Oh my goodness, that makes me laugh. So yeah, but I mean, you're doing great. I don't mean
Yeah.
it in any
No,
way.
I
For
know.
everybody, everyone's doing their absolute best in their moment. I know that's true. Um, and as we're here to just make it easier, evolve to where doing our absolute best gets better and better and easier and more easeful. I think the reason I don't use the word easy, and you all ever hear mostly I say easeful. Easy sounds like, you didn't have to do anything, Easeful is you still had focus and intention, but it wasn't this horrible, strenuous thing. Easy sometimes sounds like waved a magic wand. And it's like, yeah, I don't want to, it's not always easy, but it
Yeah.
can be easeful, or at least more easeful.
Or that big red button from those commercials years back, the easy button.
Bonk.
Hmm.
Wish yeah. And the easeful button, it's not really a button, it's a easeful, it's like a light, and you choose to go in that direction, Yeah. As you're open to the easefulness as an energy. Yeah. Anything else coming up that we want to talk about before we sign off?
Nope, I don't have anything. I don't see any messages.
Okay. All right. So if you want to think this over and something comes up later, you can always come back and make a comment. And I get notifications during the week and I come in and answer. Also, let me just remind everyone that February 12th will be our next live stream. We're on monthly live stream now, and we're going to, it's the month of Valentine's Day, the weekend before. And so we're going to talk about balancing heart and mind for harmony and joy. And the reason for that is that I know it can be sometimes, we kind of flip flop. It's like a little bit of what we touched on today, that kind of flip flop between being in your human brain, being intellectual and being smart and savvy in the world, which is important. And then being this loving person, spiritual, loving, caring person. So we're going to really go into how to have, find your balance, your own unique balance. Everybody will have their own way of doing it. And we're going to just cover that. That's what we're going to talk about next month, February 12th, same time. And let's see, what else do I want to say before we sign off? Okay, so thank you for your presence. I do want to say this. Your presence with us live is wonderful. Replay, awesome too. I know, everyone's in different time zones. Sometimes you can't be with us live, but when you can and you participate, that means a lot. So for us to do this and continue offering conscious living teachings and principles and support, we do have, we have to have resources. There is an energy exchange. One way you can contribute is your presence with us live. Your like and love, I think Spencer mentioned that earlier, the buttons, care, like, love, the sharing with other people, sharing it on a page where you think people might want to see it, or specifically sending it to somebody, that one person or something. Also comments help. See, all that helps get us more readily seen through social media. So it helps other people find us who would like to learn the teachings that we offer. And then for those of you, that's a contribution that we value so much, and we thank you for that. If you want to be someone who truly supports us, we do have, financial needs to do this. And so we value your contribution. I know Spencer puts up like a PayPal and maybe some other things. So in the description, you'll see how to do that. And we also have it on our website. And we value that. I mean, $25, $50 a month, you might be surprised how much difference that makes for us. It really does help. If you want to be somebody who really is like an ambassador that helps us get this out in the world, then we would welcome your participation in terms of being a leader in our community, taking a leadership role in some way, also a more substantial monthly contribution, if that's something that fits your lifestyle. Whatever you feel is true for you, I invite you to explore that, because if conscious living matters to you, and you want to continue to be supported in it, I invite you to be aware that it's a time in the world to support it, to support organizations that raise conscious thinking, raise conscious living. Okay. And we're one of them. And we welcome your support. And that support can be participation, financial, viewing and sharing. All of those things mean so much to us. And we thank you for your presence. We welcome your feedback. There's a banner on our homepage where you can let us know if there's a topic you want us to address, whether you want us to address it in a live stream, or you want us to create a video, like an audio video like we did with the guiding star. This would be something we could do as like we're going to start creating some energy immersions that you can have, just that by itself to listen to. And so if there's a particular topic that you would like for us to do something supportive on, let us know. We really are here to help you as a member of our community. We care about you and we value you very much. So that's it for me. Did I forget anything, Spencer?
No, I just saw a comment come in on YouTube from Lee saying they prefer our music. They like our music. So thank you, Lee. We appreciate that and that feedback. Perfect timing for that as we're talking about the different ways you can help us and interact with us, and even just little comments like that make our day and help us gain that reach out in our electronic digital world here. So thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for taking the time to tell us that today, Lee.
Yes, thank you, Lee. And for everyone listening, those little feedbacks are important because that lets us know what is serving you. And so we'll do more of what we know is serving you. Okay. Thank you so much. So let us just come together. I want to just send out a beautiful blessing on behalf of all of us. Spencer, too. I'm the one speaking, but it's from all of us here at SCFCL. We value you. And we appreciate your wanting to raise your consciousness and make conscious choice, bring conscious living into your life, which will change everyone who knows you, even without you doing anything. It will impact everyone around you. And then we will spread that across the globe as we continue to expand our vision. And we thank you if you want to be a part of it. If you don't know how to be a part of it and you want to explore that, send me an email, Renee@spiritualcenterforconsciousliving.org. We can have a conversation about that. We welcome you. Okay. Have a wonderful week, being this wonderful new energy, evoking this new consciousness that is who you want to be in this new year. And we'll see you next month, February 12th. In the meantime, join us on our email so you can stay in touch, because we send out emails regularly and we'll keep having posts on Facebook. So you can check on those every week as well. Much love to you.